Our next review is going to be for the film Final Destination Bloodlines. Final Destination Bloodlines is the sixth film in the Final Destination franchise there. I've seen a few of the Final Destination movies myself
Mhm,
there. I didn't have time to rewatch any of them, but
mhm.
a lot of people are really raving about this. Some people are saying that this is some Final Destination fans there. Is there a term for Final Destination fans? Is like a
I
term
don't
for it?
know. I don't know if they have a term coined for it.
Okay. You don't want to come up with one,
Uh,
destination heads or something like that. You
I don't.
know,
I don't know. I don't know.
FD heads, I don't
I
know
don't
what you
got time for that.
but yeah, some people are saying that this is the best film of the franchise there. It's doing rave reviews there, great critic score, and but we'll give you let you people know our thoughts on it. So what's happening in this Destination film here? Well, if you know Final Destination and the franchise, if you're brand new to it, let me tell you about it. So it always usually contains people here, people who've cheated death, right? You have a character who has the ability of premonitions, and they're able to see deaths before they happen. And when they do that, the movie kind of will open with the death scenes happening, but then it'll cut backwards. It'll go back to actually when the character first, before she even entered the situation, and she's able to stop it. And then what that causes is Death is really pissed about that because like, oh no, you weren't supposed to do that. No,
It's
no,
like
no, no. These people were mine. I was supposed
it's
to
like
collect these souls.
you fuck with my job.
I got a quota to meet, you know what I mean? And you fucking with my numbers here. So because you did that, I gotta go now and kill you and all the people around you there as punishment. So in this
Mhm,
series, you see with Bloodlines, hence the name of it, it
mhm,
is now attacking a family, as you see here. We
mhm,
see the opening sequence takes place in always a lot of these Final Destination movies always have these big elaborate opening sequences
mhm,
here, much like these do. And then the first opening sequence takes place in the 60s there, where you see kind of happening. And then years later, decades later, in modern times here, we see that that death has finally has come back to haunt this family and come back to get its revenge over what that character did.
mhm,
So yeah, that's the setup here. And you got Tony Todd, who makes a return in this. This is one of his final performances
mhm.
before he passed away. Unfortunately, he passed away from stomach cancer.
Uh,
Unfortunately, this rest in peace to Tony Todd there with him. But Nick, you're a big Final Destination fan. What are your thoughts here on Bloodlines?
so Final Destination is one of those franchises that it has a huge, cult following almost because the first movie, I think, is, one of the, surprise hits of the 2000s where horror was trying to find its legs in this new era. And Final Destination 2, it managed to traumatize an entire generation to where nobody I know is going to drive behind a logging truck ever.
Oh yeah,
But
which they actually did some cool marketing with that recently with
mhm.
the truck there. They actually
Yeah,
did
of course.
that.
Everybody remembers the logging truck. And it's a franchise that is kind of 50-50. It is like two of the movies are universally regarded as being good. Three and four are, kind of bad. And five is kind of hit or miss for people. I love that movie. And with this one, this does such a good job of bringing this franchise back to what made the original so great, which was, and I keep coming back to this quote from Zach Kreger, who directed Barbarian a couple years ago, and he had this line in an interview where the like setup between like great sketch comedy and great horror aren't that too dissimilar. It's like there's subversion of expectation and excuse me, playing with expectations and build up and surprise. And every one of the deaths in this movie, they managed to dance that line beautifully, where it does such a good job of bringing your attention to like this one thing, and it's something else that causes the death. And this movie, I think it's much funnier than any of the other entries in this because there's a couple deaths in here that no sane person should be laughing at, but they got a riot out of my theater.
Mm, yeah. especially with the character because it's all about these kind of Rube Goldberg type of deaths that happens in these movies. It's like this coin goes to this thing and it bounces off this other thing and goes here and then it gets stuck here and then that's able for it
Mhm.
to heat up and do all this other stuff. So it's all about how all that's going to set up in these death scenes and how it's all going to culminate, which is always interesting and fun to watch in these type of movies there. And people say like, well, we just had a Final Destination movie that came out just this year
Mhm.
with the monkey. There
Mhm.
we had that, and I'm interested to because you saw the monkey there as well.
Yeah, I saw and I really liked the monkey, but with that movie, that was more playing into the absurdity, and it was fairly more straightforward with how it killed people. With
Mm,
Final Destination, it's all about bringing your attention here. Meanwhile, the real death trap is happening over here.
like a magic trick. It's kind of yeah,
Yeah,
deal with that.
exactly.
Mm, yeah. I've watched some of the Final Destination films there. I've watched the first one. I watched the one with Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I think I watched the second
Mhm.
one. I think I did see also the 3D one. I believe I did see that
Mhm.
one. I can't remember. I can't. Yeah, I did see 5. So I did.
Yeah, fi
I think I.
5 was the first back to basics one. It was also the first one that actually, like, tried to do a good job of making you care about characters in that, and also, it was the one to bring back Tony Todd.
Mm, yeah, Tony
I'm on?
Todd. Yes, you are on there, Jay. We're just
Yes, you're
I
reviewing.
on.
can't. Why am I not hearing you?
Oh, can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear Jay. I think he can't hear us there. But yeah, I'm gonna come back to Jay in a minute there. But
Mhm.
yeah. So I did like these. Yeah, so I did like the fifth one. I'd have to rewatch them again to see where I would rank all of the Final Destination movies. There. How recently have you seen all the Final Destination films?
I started rewatching them, before and after I saw the latest one. I watched the first one, and then I've just slowly been, like, working through the other sequels.
Okay. And where would you say that this one is? Bloodline.
Honestly, I'd say this is probably my favorite or, like, second favorite of the entire franchise, because this is the one where it adds new wrinkles to the formula of Final Destination, which I think the best movies in this series, besides the first one, managed to do. Because with the with the second one, it added that wrinkle of, okay, all the characters in here, they were like part of a ripple effect from the first movie, and the fifth one added that like rule is like, if you kill somebody, you can get the time they had left, which come up in this movie.
Yeah, this it makes for a funny scene where characters looking at some babies and go like, "We want to do this?" Like, "No, we don't want to do that." They're like, "No, we don't want to do that."
No, but
No, but
no.
seriously, no, no, we're not gonna So it does bring up that, and it brings up more of the lore of the Final Destination thing
Mhm,
of like, all the how death kind of works and everything like
mhm.
that, and like you even have a character who has a whole rule book on that. And you had characters like that before, like what's her name? Was it Ali Lauder?
Yeah, Ali Larder, who was
Yeah.
Clear Rivers in the first movie, in the first and second movies, she was like kind of the insider. Besides Tony Todd, who I'm just rewatching the first two movies, they were clearly trying to set him up to be Death, because
Mm.
he was a character that knew way too much about their situation than anybody else could have been let on.
Yeah, I was kind of think he was
It's
kind of
like,
a the physical
all
presence
right,
of death or something
this
like that.
motherfucker is like clearly the Grim Reaper, but that could just be because it's Tony Todd, who, the Candy Man.
Yeah, which I think it made good use of him there, and it's good to see him come back for this one.
Mhm,
It being one of his final roles there. Obviously, he does look clearly very visibly sickly in this,
mhm.
but it is awesome just to see him and everything like that in it. But yeah, the deaths are really good. I think it has some of the really great deaths. I think my favorite one was the one in the hospital. I think the one in the
Oh,
hospital.
that whole set piece in the hospital is amazing, because it does, what I talked about before of, like, bringing your attention to, like, one thing that you think could cause a character to die. Even, like, bits in the trailer where, yeah, you see, like, something that could have led to a death, but it doesn't happen.
Mm. And even moments, I mean, like in the tattoo shop, the that one was in. That one was also really good. Just the setup of that, and again, it plays on your kind of expectations of like, oh man, something fucked up is going to happen. It really plays with your expectations there. And this character, I think his name, what was his name again? It
Oh,
was
his name was
Abe or
Eric, who's played
Eric.
by Richard Harmon. He might be my favorite character in this because he is kind of the, a lot of movies have kind of the asshole character who's like laughing in the face of death. And here he adds a level of humor and levity to this that if it didn't, this movie would have just gone straight into goofy slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
But
Speaking about-
something I think this movie does versus the others, because something that I think this one does well to compare to another movie with Evil Dead Rise, because we're focusing on a whole family. The movie does a good job of making these people feel like a real family. Yeah, there's drama in between them, but they are still people that love and care about each other, which I think is a strength of this movie and something that we don't really see in a Final Destination movie.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the characters. So the new person, the new lead of this, who has the premonitions, is Caitlin Santa Juana there, and she plays the lead there, and she plays Stephanie Reyes there. Maybe she's related to Josh Hartnett's character in Fight there. So yeah, she's the one that steps up, and she's the one with the kind of premonitions. Did you like her as the lead? Is one of the better leads of the franchise?
Yeah, she I think she's good given what she has to do. She's kind of meant to be our audience avatar and kind of just be freaking out, especially like through the entire first act of this, because the whole inciting incident is because we get the opening of the movie, which is the big disaster, but to play with us, it doesn't flash back to Breck Basinger, who is the lead character of that segment. It flashes to her, and we're kind of as an audience asking, wait a minute, how does she fit into this? And getting more of that mystery revealed slowly throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Chris, you said you saw Final Destination. Did you have some thoughts on it?
Yeah, I did. I saw it today. As someone who has been a fan of this franchise since basically childhood, like I specifically remember walking in on my mom watching the second one on DVD when I was 6, 7. I was like a baby when she was watching that. And for some reason, rather than chasing me out of the room like most parents would and probably should, she decided this would be a good like bonding experience for us and sat me down on the couch to watch the rest of it with her. And funny enough, like 5 seconds after she did that came the scene where a mother character in the movie watches her son get violently crushed to death by a pane of glass. So maybe that was her way of trying to tell me, like, do whatever I tell you, don't screw around, don't be an idiot, or you're gonna fucking die. So yeah, maybe that's what was up. But yeah, I've liked this franchise for a long time. I was hoping this one would at least live up to the better entries in the series, especially given it's also Tony Todd's last movie, as far as we know. Maybe there's something else that we just haven't heard about yet. And I was pleasantly surprised that not only did this match the best of the series, but I think in certain ways, it managed to surpass the best in the series, because I think by far this movie has the best ensemble character-wise out of any movie in the series. Not that the rest of the movies have like necessarily bad characters, except for 4. Like nobody comes off good in 4. That's the worst one by a long shot.
The only redeemable character in that is Michael T. Williamson, and that's because
Bubba.
you have him.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody else is like just kind of like disposable, like CW, like magazine model, just boring meat. Exactly. But yeah, this one, it doesn't give you a ton of screen time with the family before the carnage starts, but the little bit it does give, I totally buy them as a family unit. They all have like specific personalities and characterizations that I'm able to tell them apart from each other. They don't just feel like the same stock character copy and pasted. The main girl, I forget her name. Caitlin Santa.
Juana.
Caitlin Santa Juana.
Yeah, I think she's really good. I like her brother. You're right. Tattoo guy. Eric.
Teo Briones is Caitlin Santa Juana's brother, who was in the Chucky series.
Oh, okay. Oh, was he the?
Yeah, he was like the shithead little cousin in Chucky.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Nice.
Right, I haven't watched that, but I liked him, and yeah, I think Eric is easily one of the standouts of the entire movie. Like he gets a laugh basically every scene that he's in, and he's sort of like a good. You kind of need like sort of a comic relief character in a movie like this because the premise is so insane. And I
Mhm.
think the lesser movies don't like 4 don't have that character, but the better movies like 5 with David Koechner and PJ Byrne, and the first one with Sean William Scott, and now this one with Eric, I think they managed to have a character in there who's able to balance out to where it's not such an oppressive experience to watch the movie because it's again like the franchise has made clear in the past, death is inevitable for a lot of these
Mhm.
people, but it's through this character in particular with this one, it still manages to make the movie like fun to watch just in terms of like certain lines that he has and certain scenarios that he proposes, like as you guys mentioned earlier, the aforementioned potential baby murdering sequence, which got maybe the biggest laugh in the theater that I saw it with. But yeah, and also just the kills are really creative, and not just in terms of how they're executed with all their bloody detail, but also just the setups for them are really
Mhm.
well put together and well filmed and well edited to where you are sort of on the edge of your seat as you're wondering like, all right, how are these going to play out? And some of them are really funny how they play out. One particular kill that I won't specifically mention, but it involves a soccer ball, and that is all that I will say. But yeah, this is kind of like a greatest hits of the franchise as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, right now I think it is my favorite of the series personally.
Okay. And you two being having some kind of fresh memory of the franchise, is there a lot of like Easter eggs and stuff there
The biggest
reference?
one I think is like right before the third act, and I think it's in the trailer where in the trailer you see like a character walking in the street as a bus or a car just drives past them real fast. You see like the logging truck drive past somebody. As far as Easter eggs go, those are probably the two standouts.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Chris? You see any big things?
Well, there's a character from 2 that
Mhm.
they name drop during shot sequence. That was
Mhm.
a big one that I noticed. Obviously, they include like a logging truck passes by characters at one point, and they make reference to sort of a classic kill in the first one with a character getting smashed by a bus that they try to repeat in 4, but to much lesser effect. And this one does the good thing of not like repeating it full beat, but just making it like a cute little, oh, if you get that's nice. If you get it, great. If you don't get it, it doesn't like take away from the experience of watching it at all. So I think they're very careful and very smart with how they do the callbacks to previous movies. And also that book, it has sketches of like airplanes and like
Mhm.
freeways and shit, which are references to the first and second one. So they're done really tastefully and ways that aren't distracting to the rest of the actual story of what you're watching currently.
Yeah, and just and like you were saying, that this movie has such a passion for the franchise, even down to the two directors, Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, who they were picked out of like 200 people that were like possibly going to direct this. And during their pitch meeting, they staged an accident like in the movies. It was like there was like a big fire in the background, and it ended with one of them getting beheaded. And that was like their sign of like, yeah, these are the two guys for the job.
Hmm. Nice. And yeah, the director of this Final Destination movies, as you mentioned there, Zach Lipetsky and Adam Stein. So this is their first time doing any Final Destination movie.
Mhm.
There, so there's that. So go around, get you guys final thoughts and rating for it. Chris, what's your final thoughts and rating for Final Destination Bloodlines?
My thoughts and ratings are, again, this is probably my new favorite in the series, and I was a little skeptical because I'd been hearing the same thing going around, so I was kind of like, all right, I hope it's good, but we'll see. And I walked away
Mhm.
going like, man, that was so much fun. I really don't have that much to complain about. Like it's like sort of nitpicky logical things that if I had to pick anything out, it would be stuff like that, which really ultimately doesn't take away from the movie at all. And yeah, I think it's a highlights reel of everything that makes this series so special and interesting. And it makes you want to see more from this series because there's so much that you
Mhm.
can do with it. And this movie also sort of opens the door to possibly exploring incidents like these and scenarios like this in other time periods, other decades. Like that would be really interesting to see, like how this thing has been playing out across the entirety of human existence could be really interesting. Like not just like 50s, 60s or whatever, but like even further back, like maybe the 1800s, you could do something with that. So it makes you excited to see what else they can do on that level while also giving you a really strong full meal on its own. So I would say absolutely go see it in the theater, do IMAX if you can. Like that's how I
Oh.
saw it. And they do a really cool thing where every time like a death is about to happen, they shift it to where like the bars go away and the screen gets
Ooh.
bigger. And it was really fucking cool to see. So yeah, definitely like tune in. Absolutely.
What about you, Nick?
Oh, I'm right there. I was kind of on the fence of calling this my favorite Final Destination because it had been so long since I've seen a lot of the movies. I really like 1 and 2 and 5, but even with those, I still have like I like those movies, but with this, I really don't have that problem. I think every like set piece, every kill, everything is like perfectly staged. This movie does a masterful job of building tension and doing that thing with the magic trick of one drawing your attention one way and then setting up the kill in the other. On top of that, having the best ensemble cast of any of these movies with Caitlin Santajuana, who I think does a fantastic job of grounding this and giving us as an audience a character to root for and really hope that this whole family makes it out because they do such a good job of making them feel like real people. And on top of that, kind of in a way fundamentally changing the nature of the Tony Todd character throughout this franchise, but doing it in a way that it adds this level of emotional resonance and poignancy that in my theater people were kind of tearing up, and so was I, especially with how Tony Todd exits this film.
Mm.
I
Great,
got to give this a strong tune in.
yeah, great exit from him. Their Final Destination. Yeah, I like this. This is a lot of fun. The kills, which mainly people sickos love to see the kills in it.
It's me.
Um,
I'm
uh,
sickos.
yeah, there's a sicko right there. Yeah, it
Come
works.
get
It's
me.
great kills in here as always when it comes people have come accustomed to with the Final Destination franchise. I think the cast is really good, really fun. I like the lore of the franchise there. Good send off to Tony Todd. I'm happy that this Final Destination movie was really good. Him being in this good Final Destination movie to send off him and then his legacy and his career. So that was pretty awesome there. Yeah, so I would also give it a tune in for me as well for Final Destination Bloodlines. Yeah, Jay.